welcome to ECCB Connects. This week, Deputy Director in the Financial Sector Supervision Department, Livia Bertin-Mark, explains the requirements and benefits of a basic bank account. Stay connected. We'll continue in a moment.
Have you seen the Grenada 50? The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, in collaboration with the government of Grenada, issued the Grenada $50 note in July 2024 to commemorate Grenada's 50th anniversary of independence. The Grenada 50 is printed on polymer. It is the same size and includes similar security features as the current EC banknotes in circulation. This limited edition $50 banknote was issued exclusively in Grenada, but it can be used in any of the ECCB member countries. The Grenada $50 note is legal tender. This means that it can be used for any of your standard and over-the-counter business transactions.
Livia, welcome to ECCB Connects.
And thank you for having me.
Livia, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank has heard the cry of the people of the currency union with respect to the challenges they have been having with opening bank accounts. And of course, the ECCB has worked with a working group to address this issue, and in November issued a call to licensed financial institutions to make basic accounts available to customers effective 1st December 2024. Tell us about the work that has gone into the development of this initiative.
The ECCB, in collaboration with the ECCU Bankers Association, would have formed a working group along with other regulators within the currency union towards a strategy or what we consider to be a roadmap to ease the challenges that we are having with the opening of accounts. To that point, the basic bank account forms one of our strategic pillars that will assist our citizens in the currency union to have easier access to the formal financial sector.
Livia, in a nutshell, what is a basic account?
So a basic bank account is one that is accessible to persons who currently do not have an account in our financial systems. It is one to give you access to what we consider to be a range of banking services, including ATM, online banking, point of sales terminal, so you can transact your business anywhere. Most importantly, it allows you to accumulate and save for your better days. So in that regard, with the basic bank account, you're allowed to deposit up to a maximum of $3,000 monthly. This is both for the individual accounts as well as business accounts. And when we speak of business, we speak of our micro businesses, our small to medium-sized enterprises.
Okay, so let's say I'm an individual, I want to open a basic bank account. What do I need to take to my bank?
You need one form of identification. And when we refer to identification, we speak of valid forms of identification. And that is all you need to enter the bank and request service for a basic bank account.
And identification, government-issued identification?
Government-issued. So you're looking at passports, your driver's license, your national ID. Some of our jurisdictions do utilize social security cards as a form of identification as well.
Simply go in with my ID. What happens next?
As part of the process, our financial institutions will obtain certain information from you. That includes what we call our due diligence information, basic information or personal information on you. So what is your name? Where do you live? What is the expected activity on this account? And what are the source of funds that will be funding this account? So this information will form part of the application process. But most importantly, they are required to maintain this. And as you go through your financial journey with that institution and they have established a pattern of behavior for you, you will then be able to access more services from the financial institution, most importantly, including the extension of credit.
So I'm no longer required to provide proof of address or copy of utility bills, that sort of thing?
For the basic bank account, that information will be obtained. That means you will supply it verbally to the financial institution. Should there be a change in your pattern of behavior, so you do recall we would have indicated you're allowed $3,000 maximum deposit. Should there be changes in that pattern of behavior, the financial institution can call on you for additional information. But to establish this basic bank account, All you require is one piece of valid identification. And of course, you cannot hold an existing bank account because the basic bank account, and I think it's critical to highlight this here, it is targeted to those persons that we consider to be unbanked in our financial system and more so underserved because they do not have access to the formal financial system.
When you say unbanked, how is a person categorized as unbanked?
So unbanked simply means you do not have an account in none of our licensed financial institutions. As a result, you don't have an ATM card. You cannot do online banking in that regard. And so those persons we consider to be excluded from the financial system. It makes them very vulnerable to other activities within our space.
Give us an example of individuals who will fall into that category of being unbanked.
And so there are many examples that we can think of. I can think of one, for instance, if I am a student who have recently graduated from school, I've just recently obtained my very first form of employment. I may not necessarily have confirmation of address, but I do have valid identification. And so that individual would be able to access and open a basic bank account. I often think of our persons who have small businesses in our space, and they may have trading ads businesses most importantly. And so I often give the examples of perhaps a gardener, somebody who cuts somebody's yard and is going from one house to the other as part of their normal routine for their business. They may not necessarily have a registered business in a particular name. They would also have access to a basic bank account. That would give them a number of opportunities to establish a pattern of behavior and therefore expand their businesses as they have now a pattern history that the financial institutions can rely on.
Right now, Livia, with some accounts, if you go below minimum amount you're charged, will that apply to the basic account?
Not a basic bank account. So you do recall, we would have indicated it is free to open, it does not attract maintenance fees, and there are no minimum account balances for you to maintain. So with the basic bank account, you have the opportunity to save at your own speed, at your own pace. And so what we're hoping to see is the accumulation of wealth of our citizens as they access the basic bank account.
You mentioned a minimum of $3,000. Is there a cap on the amount that can be in a basic bank account?
So you have a maximum amount in terms of $3,000 that can be deposited to that account on a monthly basis, right? So this is what would be required for the basic bank account. However, as a savings pattern, you can accumulate. So you currently earn $3,000 or less. You can deposit that into your basic bank account. You can withdraw some and you can leave some. But over time, you can accumulate a savings balance. And so there is no restrictions in how much you can save on your basic bank account.
Livia, any final word before we wrap up?
Certainly. I think we would like to encourage our citizens, particularly those who currently do not have bank accounts, to walk into your banking hall and ask and inquire about the basic bank account. Most importantly, I think it's also important to applaud the effort of the persons operating within the industry. We did indicate that this has been a collaborative approach, but it must be mentioned and highlighted here, the organic nature in which the basic bank account was introduced to our system. And so we applaud the initiative of our licensed financial institutions, and indeed we look forward to working with them as we continue our financial inclusion journey.
Livia, thank you very much for speaking with us on ECCB Connects.
Thank you.
And now for this week's financial tip.
Sale, big sale. Before you go shopping, review your monthly budget to ensure you can really afford to buy the item. If you can't afford it in cash twice, maybe you shouldn't buy it.
We've come to the end of this week's episode of ECCB Connects. In this program, we looked at the basic bank account. To open a basic bank account, you need to present only one form of valid photo ID. The basic account does not attract any maintenance fees. It is not subject to any minimum balance. A basic bank account also gives you access to a range of banking services, such as online banking, check service, and ATM services. Thanks for watching. We invite you to join us next week for another program.